Hi, everyone. Caroline Hernandez, your clerk speaking. We're gonna do things just a little differently tonight. We have a quorum of members. However, our chair and our vice chair, our chair won't be coming tonight. She had to attend to something, and our vice chair will be here probably a little after 7 o'clock. So we're just gonna get the meeting started. We'll run through our agenda. We'll still do minutes. And then once we get to the staff presentations, and staff will take over the discussion. So we'll ask that you guys, after following the staff presentation, you raise your hand if you have a question, and staff will call on you. So we'll just do that until our vice chair arrives.
We can do that.
Okay, thank you. And I will call the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. Aaron Gill,
Present.
Frank Kinsella,
Present.
Robert Sipple,
Present.
Allison Falwell, here. Lauren Lewis, not present. Raj Banat,
Here.
Justin Fields, not present. Dan Kenny,
Here.
Lonnie Wong Bissett, not present. Mara Burton, not present. Ed Von Rennen, Joe Henwood,
Here.
Beth Fricksdale, here. Mary Patterson, here. And we have a quorum. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the committee on any matter not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any members of the public joining us via Zoom who would like to comment on this item? If so, please raise your hand. There are none. The next item is the approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Starting with the first set of minutes, January 26, 2026. Okay, do I have a
Second. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob Sipple, seconded by Dan Kenny. Are there any public comments? There are none. Aaron Gill,
Approved.
Frank Kinsella,
Yes.
Bob Sipple,
Yes. Yes.
Allison Falwell. Same. Raj Banat,
Yes.
Dan Kenny,
Yes.
Ed Von Rennen.
Aye.
Joe Henwood,
Yes.
Beth Fricksdale. Yes. Mary Patterson. Yes. And the motion passes with 9 votes and 1 abstention. And next, we'll do the minutes of the special meeting of March 2nd, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion, yes. Second.
We have a motion by Aaron Gill, seconded by Dan Kenny. Do we have any public comments? There are none. Aaron Gill,
Approved.
Frank Kinsella,
Yes.
Robert Sipple,
Yes.
Allison Falwell, Raj Banat,
Yes.
Dan Kenny,
Yes.
Ed Von Rennen,
Aye.
Joe Henwood,
Yes.
Beth Fricksdale, abstain. Mary Patterson. Yes. And that motion passes with 8 ayes and 2 abstentions. We will skip opening report tonight, and we'll move on to committee business. And the first item is receive update from about the urban grant program awards for 25-26 program solicitation And our staff member is Jackie McBride.
Hello, good evening, Citizens Advisory Committee. I'm Jackie McBride. Nice to see you tonight. It's been a few years since I've addressed the committee. So if you don't know me, I'm the Community Investment Specialist, and I've been, among other things, working with the Urban Grant Program for about 6 years. So today I'm here to give you an update on how the recent Board of Directors meeting went for the 2025-2026 Urban Grant Program solicitation. So I'll just be covering the Urban Grant Program as a whole, and then I'll share the list of awards. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. In the presentation, you'll see some pictures of past grantees. Those are kind of fun things to point out along the way. We have some really amazing grantees that do a huge variety of work, so I always like to point them out, and they're lovely pictures of spending quality time outdoors with people. So the Urban Grant Program has been around since 2016. And since then, the Board of Directors has awarded 89 grants, which is a lot of grants. It's really exciting. And now the total amount is over $6.5 million. We also have the 20% funding program. That's a separate outgoing grant program that we have at the Open Space Authority. And so in combination, the authority has granted over $15 million in awards. And if you're interested, there's a great webpage on our website that shows pictures and some information about these past awardees. And soon we'll hope to add in the new grantees into there so you can learn more about their projects there too. And this picture shows before this latest cycle, about 78 or so projects, and you can see they're really focused in the urban areas. The Urban Grant Program is focused on the urban areas, so capital projects happen in those urban areas where a lot of people live, and programs primarily serve people living in those urban areas. So this year, for the 2025-2026 cycle, there was a theme. This was the first time that we had a theme. It was building a climate strong future for all, so tying into climate resilience. These were programs only. So programs are things that connect people to nature in different ways. So it can be events, curriculum, programs, hikes, can be for all ages of people, but it's really people focused in its nature. The individual projects were $30,000 to $75,000 per project. And there was an original allocation of $750,000. And the eligible applicants for this grant program are local public agencies, schools and school districts, or nonprofits. Or if an agency, an organization does not have, let's say, a nonprofit status, they can apply with a fiscal sponsor, which is someone typically as a nonprofit that is applying for them, essentially in partnership. All the projects fall into at least one or more of these categories. In this case, with programs, environmental education is a theme throughout all of them, but they might also touch on environmental stewardship and restoration, or parks, trails, and public access, or urban agriculture and food systems. And these are referenced in Exhibit A if you're interested. Exhibit A is the guidelines, which the whole grant program is really based on. So the guidelines is about a 32-page document. It outlines the funding, the application questions, the pre-application questions, the scoring. So anything that you want to know about the grant program, it's in there. And it also includes the scoring criteria. So this year, there were 175 points possible. The projects go through a staff review process. So they went through a really rigorous process where all 39 applications were read and scored and ranked by 4 staff members with a lot of expertise in this area through program experience or other things that are related to this grant process. The reviewers spent over 250 collective hours going through this process this year. It was a very competitive process. It took a lot of time, and we were really excited about how many amazing projects that we got and that we got to see, and that the board did ultimately award. The program area, like I mentioned, it's all focused on the urban areas, so where people live in our jurisdiction, in the more condensed areas. So this map, if you see that light orange, that kind of diagonal shading, that is the eligible grants area. So for programs, that means that the programs need to primarily serve people living in those urban areas. They are able to go outside of the urban areas for hikes or other events or things like that. But everything needs to take place within OSA's jurisdiction and primarily serve people living in the urban areas. And then when we've done capital rounds, the capital rounds need to happen in the urban areas. So this is how we think about the urban grant program, as balancing out our investment in open space and focusing on the urban areas that we don't always do a lot of other projects in. Once a grant is awarded, I work with the grantees to finalize their contract. These are reimbursement-based grants, so they need to do the work and then ask for the reimbursement after. And then I go through a handbook and help them through that process. They also are asked to share our logo and other promotional materials or verbiage on their flyers and other places that they're posting about their project, maybe on social media or email, etc. So we get a good amount of outreach via our grantees. So I mentioned this year there were 39 full applications. We received a bit more for the pre-application, and the total request came in at over $2.4 million. So that was a really high number. Over half of the organizations had never applied to the Urban Grant Program before. So we see that as a really good sign that more people are finding out about the grant program and maybe about us as well. And then this is the exciting list to share about who the board awarded. I know the black box is covering up the last one that says Vegilution. These are in alphabetical order by organization. And the total amount that was awarded was $974,146. So I'll say that on the next slide again, but just wanted to give you a moment to look at this list. I'll also say that this year, the process for recommendations and awards was a bit simpler than last time. We had a really great attendance at this public meeting. This was on March 12th. We had approximately 22 people attend and about 19 people speak. We also held this special meeting offsite at the Mexican Heritage Plaza in downtown in East San Jose. And that was a really exciting opportunity to be out in the community. The School of Arts and Culture is the organization that manages that space, and they are a grant recipient of ours from our last capital round that the CAC helped be involved in that as well. So you might be familiar with that project that we're doing with them there. So these are the 15 new grantees of ours. We're really excited about the diversity of the projects and the programs that they are delivering to their communities. So there's 13 nonprofits, 1 school, and 1 public agency. There was a press release that went out, and we also shared about it on social media, including LinkedIn and Instagram. So if you are interested, you can also reshare that if you'd like, or you can check out more information there. And looking ahead, typically we come back to your committee before a grant solicitation and get any feedback from the CAC on the guidelines or things related to the grant program. And typically if we do a capital round, we also have the CAC involved in that. At this point, we don't have any dates or timelines set aside for money, or we really don't know what the next round will look like, timeline or funds. So I don't have anything exciting to tell you about that yet, but when I do, I will come back to you, so stay tuned. But this is just to give you that update on those grantees and answer any questions that you might have. And I'm happy to go back to that other slide if you wanted, but otherwise I can keep that there. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. Thanks.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to inquire about the numbers that were put up there. You said you had, I think it was 2.4 or 2.9 million in requests, right?
2.4 million. Mm-hmm.
2.4, okay. And then you had 750 that was going to be granted.
So the actual grant was 974,000. At first, the board of directors allocated, so before a cycle comes out, they allocate money from the pot. They had first allocated $750,000, and then they are the board is able to add more money to the pot if they'd like. And so they ended up awarding more than that original allocation. The pot of money that is, so there's kind of 2 pots of money. There's a larger pot of money that the authority adds a small amount of money to each year to build up for the grant program. And at the time, there was about 1.4 million before March 12th in that pot. $750,000 was kind of set aside or allocated for the 2025-2026 round, keeping some aside for a future grant round. And then the board of directors decided to go over that original allocation to the 974,000 for this solicitation.
How does the board come up with an idea of what it can be allocated for grants per year?
That's a good
What's the
question. So there's a couple of things. The board of directors typically for the last couple of years has allocated an additional $100,000 to that pot of money. Then in discussion about future grants and what we need to have a substantial cycle, we have a discussion typically with the chair and with the directors about how much money is realistically a good amount of money to spend in a solicitation. And so in this case, for the $750,000, the staff recommended first a smaller batch of recommended applications. And then we knew that based on prior years, the board might want to award a bit more. And so we included an additional recommendation of applications that scored really well that were outside of the $750,000, but not over $1 million in case the directors wanted to go above that. And so in this case, they chose to award 4 additional grants on top of the base recommendation.
In terms of ranking and trying to develop your program, what was the goal of this program in terms of building goodwill or marketing or connecting to the community, which I know is a goal, but how is the program developed and what are you looking to accomplish?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's goals set out in Measure T. Well, so Measure T first allocates that designates that no more than 25% of that revenue will go toward a competitive grant program. And in that, there's some things that stipulate what that grant program will be, and that's kind of how we have shaped it into the guidelines. And then in the guidelines, there's a section of highly desired project elements. I think that would be the best section to answer your question. There's about 8 or 9. I don't have them completely memorized, but they tie into community resilience, underserved communities, connecting people to outdoor spaces. All of those things kind of come into the goals. And I'd also say that the guidelines make it so that the grant program is able to award a lot of diversity in project type and organization type, and it's not too narrow, keeping in mind that there is that theme this year. But I think reflected in those applications, you can see that there's different kinds of organizations and different kind of programs that I think are a result of having those desired project elements that also are aligned with the Open Space Authority goals and vision.
Since we're experiencing the 10th, I guess, anniversary of this program, right? So 16 to 26.
It's a great point. We didn't really highlight the 10-year anniversary, so let's ring a bell for that. Congrats to us.
I think it's a great milestone.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
It'd be nice to review, what's been done over the past decade and what the results are and how well they've, fared it out in the community and what the goodwill has been purchased as far as that amount and how it's changed things. That'd be nice to hear about.
Thank you for that suggestion. That's a great idea.
Thank you, Jack.
Mark? Mhm.
Yeah, and if I might, I guess I don't have to ask the chair. Just to add a little bit more to your previous question, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, great summary, Jackie, of what the urban grant program is trying to accomplish. I would say also at a very high level, bringing nature experiences to those in the urban areas that may have less opportunity to get out to, say, our preserves or other natural environments. That's been a focus of the urban grant program beginning. And that's why, as it was shown in the map that Jackie was showing earlier, there were these engagement communities identified where, based on factors that we had collected from census data and other information, we could see where people might have less access to a private vehicle or lower income or linguistic barriers or things like that that might make it harder to get out to nature have nature experiences. So just at a high level, that's the big thrust of the urban grant program. And then with the details that Jackie mentioned was how it gets implemented. And then if I might, also, I really love your idea about a 10-year look back. And there is, I don't know if it's still on our website, but there has been a 5-year report to the community after Measure Q had passed. So that was in 2019. And that includes a number of the urban grant programs that were issued or that were awarded to that date. And in addition, there's our 30-year impact report that includes a lot of the urban grant success stories. So those are, especially the 30-year one is available on our website currently.
Thanks, Mark.
I have a question. I guess, first of all, thank you for the presentation. How can we get a copy of those people that have received the grants? There's one specific one that I'm interested in, Vale Verde.
Mhm.
Can you tell me anything about what they are doing? And because I have a past experience with them, so I'd like to get your feedback or think there's any changes from years past when I was reviewing their financials.
Okay, great. Well, I can tell you Exhibit B is going to have that list, and that is going to have the 15, a very similar table in here. At just a high level, I can say the Valley Verde project is focused on accessible gardening, and I'm happy to talk to you more offline about their project details if you'd like. Mhm. All right, if there aren't any other questions, I'll turn it over back to the clerk. Great, and if you have additional questions, please reach me via email. I'm happy to talk more about grants. Thank you.
If there are any members of the public joining us via Zoom who would like to comment on this item, you may raise your hand now and we'll call on you. And there are none. Okay, cool. Next item is receive presentation on update on spring 2026 public outreach, and that will be Devin Constant.
Good evening, members of the Citizens Advisory Committee. My name is Gavin Comstock, Volunteer Programs Administrator. It's a pleasure to be with you again this evening. I've got a pretty fun presentation for you, interesting and informative, that'll cover the upcoming events that we will be participating in as an agency, and which, should you be interested, you can join us. A little bit of background for you on our community outreach program, just to set the stage. One of the reasons that public engagements and community outreach are a pillar of the Open Space Authority's success are that, public gatherings and a chance to come together are where community is built and where it is born. So we like to meet our constituents and supporters from our jurisdiction in those in the variety of settings that unfold over the course of a calendar year. And specifically, part of our approach to that uses personal interpretation. We could achieve arguably some of the same results by sending out a static exhibit that has trail maps and a Discover Your Open Space brochure and some maps of our jurisdiction, but we do believe in the value of personal connection and the ability that each one of us holds to create a generative relationship when we meet someone in, a place that they know well. And it's through those gatherings, it's through that effort to share something you love about our open space preserves or one of our perhaps educational programs. It's kind of through the combination of that a relationship to place is born. And a lot of those lead to, strong supporters that are return visitors to our preserves or to one of our programs, or that we see annually at the same public outreach events. So, every year we endeavor to put together a exciting and relevant calendar of events. And so over these next few minutes, I'm just going to walk through what's happening in April and May so that you'll be aware of where you can join us. There's certainly a lot of information there. That first column on the left arguably would be one that you might find yourself most interested in, the date and the district as that pertains to your home base. Coming up very soon, if I'm not mistaken, just next week, we have Santa Clara Earth Day and Arbor Day. Very youth-centered event that'll be at the Triton Museum of Art. And we also have a first-time event following immediately after that. Unfortunately, there's not an outreach booth, but we will be participating in the parade known as Bunnies and Bonnets, downtown Campbell. I encourage you to show up. I place a small wager that we might have an open space technician driving our service vehicle, and if you're lucky, he'll be wearing bunny ears. As you can see, a selection of events. I think what I would draw your attention to in the month of April most is that I think we touch down in almost every district. Factoring in that we've just come through a great month of March, we're still in it. We don't have currently, we don't have more events on the calendar this month. They've all unfolded, but we have a couple in here. You can see one Viva Escuela very early. If any of you are early birds, again, we're going to be working with schools within the city of San Jose. And then I would draw your attention to that bottom 3 rows before I advance. When we reach the weekend of April 18th and 19th, forward through the end of the month, we will be extremely busy. Milpitas Earth Day on the 18th of April. Mark Landgraf and Lillian Amaral from our staff will be present along with volunteer, giving an exciting presentation on conservation and the American badger. Yeah, so encourage you to show up, blow up, have a good time with us. It's only from 12 to 2. It's a quick event. As well, if you have not heard, then let me be the first to tell you about Earth Day at Santana Row. Very high profile event for the Open Space Authority, partnering for the first time with our friends at Santana Row, and we will have a very deep engagement effort going on that day. It will feature the agency through our, top shelf outreach booth that you've come to know and love, as well as some great high quality exhibits featuring the Coyote Valley conservation areas and a kids zone, something for all ages to engage. Everyone that meets us at that event is going to get a very curated experience with the Open Space Authority. Same day, on April 19th, which is a Sunday, we'll be in the city of Santa Clara at a new event for them. It's called the STEM Zone. We'll be tabling at the Santa Clara Convention Center. So when you're done, you can go to Great America and get a bite and a roller coaster ride. As you can see, April, like I said, I promise it's a very busy event. Viva Calle will be a sponsor again this year with the San Jose Parks Recs Neighborhood Services. So that's a high profile event for us. It's also on April 19th, Sunday. We'll be out there with volunteers and staff. I won't walk through every row. I would probably draw your attention down towards the weekend of April 25th. We'll be at the Morgan Hill Earth Day. As well, we'll be at the CNPS Spring Wildflower Show, which is a really large gathering of folks. Always a good event for us. We look forward to it. Moving on into the month of May, some great opportunities to join us. Starting off there, May 3rd, we'll be a sponsor as well at Councilmember Peter Ortiz's 3rd annual San Jose Cinco de Mayo Festival. That'll be taking place at the beloved Emma Prush Park. There we go. As you can see, Scoutorama, the Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander event at History Park. History Park is becoming a fantastic partner and a great location for a lot of different outreach events for us. They have a great background on agriculture, complements our own. Some first-time events there with Girls on the Run. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that nonprofit, but that's going to be a new event for us. They have an annual 5K run we'll be tabling at. Really interesting work they do, and we're excited to join them there. Round out the month with May 24th Aodai Festival with Supervisor Young. We'll be sponsoring that event as well. So that is a great event, Mexican Heritage Plaza. It'll be a first time for the Open Space Authority, I believe, at that event, but we're looking forward to joining there. Can't quite see it there. Last row just points out that the final weekend of May is still fomenting. So we might find somewhere that we want to, dip our toes and see how it's going. Pausing for questions. Yes,
Thank you, Gavin.
you're welcome.
Nice to see it all on the big screen, along with those emails. Badger ears for Mark, right?
That's
Along with
right.
money
Yes,
for the
I like
badgers.
where your head's at.
Can't wait to see those, Mark. That's
Mhm.
good. Discovery days, it would be nice to have the discovery days in there as a big for calendaring purposes along,
Did,
but that's okay. I can do parallel. I think that was it. Thanks.
well, thanks for the setup. Couldn't ask for better. As if April and May events weren't enough, I just want to let you know that happening concurrently, we do have Coyote Valley Discovery Days. So this past weekend, this past Friday, as I'm sure you know, we had the kickoff with a great webinar, a lunchtime learning event featuring Andrew McKenzie, Nick Perry, Aaron Aber, Jen Peth, presenting on the future of the Coyote Valley conservation areas. And as you can see on this slide here, there's a selection of events unfolding throughout April and May where you can join us. We have a very high quality museum-like exhibit setup that will be present at all of these events. It's the best chance for anyone interested to encourage the public to interface with this project, which is, by all accounts, really exciting work, a legacy project like none other that informs the future of the Coyote Valley. So a great chance to come out and support and show your association. As part of those Discovery Days highlights, the goal is public feedback on the concept alternatives. As you can see here, we have one of the handouts that'll be present at Coyote Valley Discovery Days featuring a QR code. The big goal is public input on the concept alternatives. This is just one of the specific tools that we use to seek that feedback. If you have not completed a survey, as you can see, that is open and available through May 17th. We'd love to hear from you on that. But thank you very much for that lovely setup on Coyote Valley Discovery Days. It's like I did that myself. If any of the events that have come before you tonight strike your fancy, then you could reach me via email. You could call me via cell phone if you like. Just let me know that you're interested and I'll do whatever I can to set you up for success. And it would be great to know if you'd like to attend. Just for example, if you happen to be interested in the San Jose Kaiser Earth Day, I would love to make sure you have a smooth arrival because it's a little bit of a junk show getting parking over there, and I could probably help you out with VIP entry instructions should that be the event that you want to attend. Let me serve you in that fashion if it's the case. Pausing for questions, interest, curiosity.
You're busy.
Thankfully, yes. I try not to think about that too much, but yes, it is the case. All right. Then without any further ado.
If there are any members of the public joining us via Zoom who would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. There are none. The next item is review and discuss Citizens Advisory Committee draft annual work plan for 2026. Lee Rasher and Mark Landgraf.
All right, now the shorter presenter is here. Here's the bend. Thank you very much, Ivy. Appreciate it. All right, so good evening, committee members. As Caroline said, Lee Rauscher, I'm Assistant General Manager. And on behalf of my fellow AGM and CAC liaison, Mark Landgraf, I'm here to present your draft fiscal year 26-27 work plan for your consideration. Before we launch into what's on the work plan, though, I just want to share what the process for developing the work plan is. Well, I seem to be missing a slide. Okay, so we're going to wing it. Pardon me. So the CAC develops their own work plan in parallel with staff developing a work plan for the agency. Pardon me, the cough drop didn't quite work. In the agency wide work plan obviously is a little bit larger than what we're presenting to you today, but we've taken some suggestions from staff on where CAC input would be of most use. And that will be the abbreviated plan that you'll see tonight. So tonight, April the 23rd, we are reviewing your draft work plan and soliciting some feedback. Thank you, Ivy, very much. Appreciate it. And then on hopefully getting your feedback tonight. And then on May 18th, we will bring back a revised version of the work plan for hopefully finalization and a vote from your committee to bring it to the board for review and approval. And staff will bring that to the board on June 25th, a week after they review and approve, hopefully, the agency-wide work plan. So there's some continuity there. And then staff will bring the hopefully approved work plan back to you, your meeting on July 27th. All right, let's see if I line up here. Great. So as a refresher, the purpose of the Citizens Advisory Committee is to provide many avenues of input to and from the Open Space Authority's diverse communities. And you heard Gavin talk about this a little bit, specifically with Coyote Valley design alternatives. But just as important as it is to have you bring information about the agency out into the public is to bring public input back to the committee, board, and staff. All right, lining up so far, so good. So there are many ways that the CAC supports the agency's mission. You educate members of the community about the authority's mission, goals, and purpose, initiatives, and projects. You might make public presentations and attend community events, like some of the ones that Gavin outlined. And then it's, again, bringing us back the community trends, insights, and ideas. All right. You have the entire work plan in your packets, but I just want to highlight a few of the objectives. And the first one is to acquire and communicate knowledge of the authority. These are some of the many places that we've been in the last couple of seasons. Of note is the service truck decorated for the parade in Morgan Hill. Last year, that was a new one for us. And you just heard that we'll be at Bunnies and Bonnets, if I have that in the right order, in Campbell. Wonderful. And that is in District 4, Director Sutherland, if you're of interest there.
Always.
Excellent. So, and also as Gavin, see, this is the disadvantage of coming at the end, right? So as Gavin mentioned, we have many events happening sometimes at the same time at different ends of the jurisdiction. And we always have more opportunities than we can actually service. So inviting you all this evening as well to think about where you might want to represent the agency and where you might want to participate, as well as soliciting ideas for the following year. This year's schedule for the next couple of months are pretty set. I still want to be friends with Gavin after this presentation, but we'd love to hear about other opportunities that you might be aware of. Also, to prepare you for some of these events, to attend an interpretive host training would be ideal. I believe the next one is in May. May 9th. Great. So mark your calendars if you'd like to come and get a refresher or maybe a first-time course on the basics of the agency. And it's all about, again, helping you feel comfortable and helping you be successful at some of these events. All right. Provide input on and support community engagement for active projects. So we have several interesting projects moving on from this year into next. The regional trail expansion. You heard from Jen Peth a few months ago about this project at Rancho Cañada del Oro. The planning, design, and construction team will be bringing you these opportunities, the opportunity to learn more about the project as it progresses. And as a matter of fact, our Lucy Land Use and Stewardship Committee is meeting on April the 9th, and we'll be taking a trip out to see the areas where we're talking about putting the trails. So time to be determined. It's going to be a daytime trip, but you are invited to come along as members of the public. So we'll keep you posted. Similarly, you heard from Thea Yang and Mel Sarmento last year about the project at Coyote Valley Open Space Preserve to increase public access. We have groundbreaking on May the 1st. We'd love to see you there. And staff will also be keeping you updated on this project throughout the year as well. And lastly, on this slide, our Farm Vision Plan, formerly known as the Ag Strategic Plan, is taking shape. So this will be another project to keep your eyes on. This is also probably a good time to remind you that you've been invited to an ag tour on April the 10th. It's from 10 to 2 to check out some of our local ranchers. And then there's Coyote Valley Conservation Areas Master Plan. I'm sure you all are very familiar with that by now. I won't say anything more because I think we've covered that in the previous ones. All right. 2 grant programs. You heard a little bit about these too, but these are very exciting programs, right? The Urban Grant Program, a competitive grant program. While the board has not set a date, as Jackie mentioned, for the next round, we want to keep this on your work plan in case it does come around and we're able to start another solicitation in the new fiscal year. And then the 20% grant program, it's open. It's always open. The open light is always on in the window for that one. Applications can come anytime. And by policy, those applications come to the CAC first for review and then potentially recommendation to the board. All right. And then lastly, I want to just remind folks that the agency does set aside a training budget for members of this CAC. This year, staff is recommending a $4,000 allowance for the committee as a whole. Topics that you may want to consider are various conservation topics that are relevant to the work that the agency is doing, governance, leadership, communications, public speaking, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All these things are relevant to the committee's work. And to request a training, you just simply work with the chair. All right. And now I will pause for questions and any feedback on the plan that you might want to offer. Mary.
Thanks, Lee. That was provocative, and I think the work plan, I really appreciate when someone else drafts a work plan. Doesn't make us do it first. Questions in the past, does this diverge much from past work plans? And then second question, has that training budget typically been spent or typically does it go unspent?
Great questions. This work plan is very similar to the previous year's work plan. Maybe new projects or new stages of projects that have been ongoing, but largely the same as the current work plan. And that training budget often goes untapped or lightly tapped. And that's why I like to call it out every year to encourage folks to find a training that they may want to attend.
But you're not talking about an individual coming to you and saying, I want this training.
We have done that. Yes, absolutely. We could use the money for a training for the committee as well, open to ideas and some creativity.
So are you saying that we could have this interpreter training, say on May 9th, and there's no cost to the agency to put us all through? I mean, what about our granola bars?
And
And some better treats than that.
We'll let Gavin take that one.
I can charge you for granola bars. You just let me know, I'll submit an invoice. But there is no cost for attending interpretive host training. We'd love to have you. It is from 9 to 1 at the Tilton Ranch Complex. And we will ensure we provide you with a veritable plethora of ways to engage the public about the meaningful work of the Open Space Authority.
Right. So, sorry, go ahead.
And I'd say if you wanted a third person endorsement, you could speak with your committee members, Ed Von Runnen, Allison Falwell, Joe Henwood, Beth Fricksdale. You could even speak with Director Sutherland. They have all attended.
And so
Sometimes they'll even buy a sandwich.
you must have been there on a good day. Other questions, feedback, things that you'd like to see change, something that you'd like to see in the work plan that you didn't see? Or you'd be really happy to see this exact work plan come back to you in May?
I'll just say, I really appreciate in the packet that Caroline sent, like the very detailed tactical things that we can do to support the Open Space Authority. I think that's really helpful, and gives us kind of a really nice menu to choose from. So thanks to the staff for
Great.
putting that together.
Excellent. And those are ideas too. So just wanted to throw out to other folks that if those tasks don't speak to you, you've got another way of coming at achieving the goal, that's wonderful too. We're open to all of that and we'll help facilitate other creative ways to achieve the goals. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, addressing the same situation. I've done a couple outreach programs now per se, and attended and helped out. And it really helps to find out what the public is looking for. And if you haven't been to one, I really encourage it because it's great to be able to be sitting here and then out there. You get a good feel for what we can offer them and what they are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, do you have anything that you want to add? Not to leave you out there.
Thank you, Lee. I think you did a really good job of summarizing the work plan and answering the questions. One thing I could add perhaps to your question, Mary, is that exactly as Lee said, you know, the work plan has been pretty consistent year to year, but it does change in emphasis. And one example of that is that in the past 2 years or so, our board has really emphasized the importance of supporting agriculture, you know, one of the pillars for our mission. And so as Lee mentioned, you know, there's a tour coming up on April 10th regarding the farm program vision. And there are more activities associated with agriculture here in the near future. So just by way of example, they do shift, but within the objectives that have remained consistent.
Thank you. All right.
And if there are any members of the public joining us via Zoom who would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand. We will call on you. They're not. The next item is informational reports, and we'll start with our board liaison, Kathy Sutherland. Yeah, really short.
Thank you all very much for letting me give you an update. I am your board liaison, and I'm always excited and happy to join you. A couple of things that I wanted to bring up. Let me see what I wanted to thank Gavin for giving us the calendar of the different locations that we're going to be, and also which district we're going to be in, because I find that very, very helpful when I look at my schedule. And then also Jackie for all of the amazing work you did for the Urban Grant Program, and how you got the board to the position where we could feel comfortable and about expanding the program a little bit. And then regarding the Urban Grant Program, I wanted to let you all know that there was a theme for it, and it was very encouraging to see that for 2 years, we're going to have a deep impact into these areas with this theme. So a lot of the grant applications sounded like they were doing the same thing, but when you're talking about doing deep engagement and really reaching out to communities and pulling them in and just making that connection, it has to be done in smaller groups. And so there are a lot of smaller groups that are going to be focusing on building a climate strong future for all. So they're going to be working with students. And as we were at that grant meeting, it dawned on me what a theme does. And it makes you think about how you're going to have a very deep impact. So I thought that was great. And then public engagement. So I was recently out at the San Jose City Council District 1 leadership meeting, and that was on Saturday with Andrea. We are the organization right now that is giving everybody happy news. People like open space. They like engaging with us. They like what we're doing. So as you do go out into your communities, realize that we are the ones who are spreading the happy news. And so I think it's really important that we speak to groups of people, maybe even 5 people, just to remind them that not all government now is doom and gloom. There are people who are doing hard things and having success, and you are some of them. So that's what I wanted to let you know. So I think that's it. Thank you very much. And I'll be back at your next meeting.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation that I obviously only saw the end of. But it's always wonderful seeing your face and hearing your voice. Are there any questions, by the way? We'll move on. Yes.
So good to see you, Madam Vice Chair. Thanks for being here. Actually, in relation, I was going to say this earlier, and anybody can answer me offline. We don't have to spend meeting time here, but when we talk about a lot of my interactions recently with my community members, I live on the cusp of Coyote Valley. When people are happy, I say I do this work and they're happy, but oftentimes they have questions about individual plots, or they have concerns about individual plots of land in the valley. Oh, my neighbor said that, blah, 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 and that piece of land is gonna be da-da-da, and they're gonna sell that to a battery manufacturing plant, whatever, right? What's gonna happen to the IBM on the top of the hill, yada, yada. It would be helpful if I knew where to lead those people. And I think that as somebody who's out there talking about preservation and conservation and being good land stewards, that would be something in a training or as a resource for me to be helpful, keep people happy with us. If I could just say, I think I can, let me get back to you with a name or a number or something. And I'm not always sure, it's not always our jurisdiction. I realize that, but sometimes I don't know. And then I sometimes don't follow up, and then I don't like that. And I want to obviously be responsive. So that would be something that'd be extremely helpful to me. Those are quite a few of the conversations. And I think that's going to happen more and more with our measure coming up.
Are there any questions online?
So I don't think, Mark, can Mary reach out to who on staff could she just have people reach out to when she runs into questions like that? Because I think staff would be the appropriate people to answer, right? And you could just connect them to the office.
Sure, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be hard to discern who to go to for a specific question, but you can always start with info at, and that goes to Ivy. And then Ivy's been really good about guiding that question to the right person on staff. So that's a really good place to start. Yeah, thank you, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Are we good to move on now? I realize we're really far along, so.
Hey, we're over it.
I know, great. I get to bang the gavel. That sounds good to me. So are we moving on to general manager? Yes. General manager and staff report, please.
Good evening, members of the CAC, and thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'm not a general manager, but I'll be happy to get the ball rolling with staff reports. I'll get it started and then pass it off to Lee and any other staff that have reports. So I wanted to start with an item that fortunately our board chair, Director Sutherland, participated in just last Friday. So we just let me take a step back for a moment. We've been reporting on progress over the past couple of years, really, on the project that was originally proposed to put a high voltage DC terminal in Coyote Valley, just off of Monterey Road, and immediately to the east of the city's property that was conserved in 2019 for conservation. It was a project that was being led by LS Power, a private firm out of the Midwest, and that was being put in place for enhancing grid reliability. You know, great project that connects to the Metcalf substation, puts an underground line all the way to downtown San Jose. The original proposal, as I mentioned, was for that site in Coyote Valley, but there it very likely would have interfered with wildlife connectivity that's being considered for that exact area. And then also with other conservation values in Coyote Valley, it would have been a really unfortunate location for that project and caused a lot of undermining of that conservation investment. And so the Open Space Authority has been speaking with LS Power, with PG&E over those past couple of years, and as well with staff at the CPUC who were set to make the decision on where the site would go. And then also getting support from Senators Cortese and Laird and Becker, and the staff at the Natural Resources Agency, all of whom were aligned that, hey, there's got to be some way to make this work so that we can still do the project, but it doesn't have the environmental impact that it would in Coyote Valley. And those negotiations went on over about 24 months since the project was initially announced. And PG&E has been really good to work with. They've been collaborating with the partners and had agreed in recent months to allow that high voltage DC terminal to be placed at their substation there at Metcalf Road, a place where that was already development that had taken place. So that decision from the CPUC to finally agree to have that terminal located at the substation was made last Thursday. And it was a unanimous decision. Everybody on the CPUC commission was strongly in favor and said how great it was that the collaboration took place, that there was a beneficial impact on the timeline of the project too, because everybody was in agreement. And so after that final decision on Thursday, the Open Space Authority hosted a press event out in Coyote Valley at the Mayana-Yakima Coyote Ridge Open Space Preserve. Charlotte Graham, our public information manager, and her comms team did a great job putting it all together and had support from many other staff as well. And Andrea McKenzie spoke. We also had folks from the PG&E and LS Power, and then council member from San Jose, David Cohen, Vice Mayor Pam Foley, and Kiyomi Yamamoto speaking on behalf of San Jose Council Member Pamela Campos. They all spoke at the podium, and then afterwards there were interviews, and we're very fortunate to have had Director Sutherland there at the press event, and she spoke on camera. And I don't know if any of you saw the ABC 7 News clip, but it was a 2-minute long story about the success of this project. And yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Ivy, pulling that up. One more thing I wanted to mention before we start the clip, though, is just really appreciate everybody's participation, even just presence at the event. And Joe, really want to thank you for coming out and supporting the event. Any of these other future events that we have, whether they're for press or other celebrations or accomplishments, love to have any of you as CAC members representing the community and representing the Open Space Authority there. So then if you wouldn't mind running a clip.
South Bay, one of San Jose's last open spaces, was at risk of shrinking because of a large new power project designed to keep energy reliable in the city. But the state just approved a plan that is a very rare win-win for the community. ABC 7 Eyewitness News South Bay reporter Dustin Dorsey explains how it will make San Jose greener in more ways than one.
Today marks a major milestone.
Preserving this beautiful open space while building infrastructure to keep up with energy demand. That was the problem in South San Jose's Coyote Valley. The Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority teamed up with PG&E and other utilities to find a solution.
It is one of our last spaces that we can preserve to make sure that we have access to open space. We have wildlife crossings, that we're able to continue to grow food here in this valley. The fact that we were able to make this a win-win for everybody is so encouraging.
The location of the new high voltage converter station is just as important as what it will provide.
Originally, this new energy project was set to go right here, where new wildlife crossings are set to come to this open space. Instead, it's sliding just up Monterey Road to PG&E's Metcalf substation.
By using our existing infrastructure, we're avoiding new impacts to the land around us and speeding up the project timeline at the same time.
The power grid works as a network. This converter station will help move large amounts of power from South San Jose to the rest of the city.
This project is capable of bringing enough power in to power 750,000 new homes. And without it, it risks reliability of the grid starting in the next couple of years.
San Jose City Council member David Cohen says this agreement proves you can have reliable energy while meeting climate goals.
These are important buffer lands for flooding. They're important open space. It's an important ecosystem, wildlife corridor. And so for all those reasons, we should be focused on making sure these lands stay intact while we also improve our energy infrastructure and our economic development.
Construction is expected to start this year to get power up and running by 2028. In South San Jose, Dustin Dorsey, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
And that's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
They said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Thank you.
It was kind of frozen.
Hello.
I'm frozen.
Didn't supply us with rotten tomatoes for that.
All right, thanks Ivy for running the clip. That was great. And thank you again, Chair Sutherland, for providing that wonderful interview. So anyway, terrific success story, and one where I think as one of the folks said on the report, you know, where we can have both. If we're doing the collaboration and having open conversations, we can have our the energy future that we need, and we can also preserve the open space and wildlife connectivity and public access. So one of, like Casey Carroll from LS Power just put it as, you know, sometimes we have to ask the difficult questions, but then when we ask them, we also have to be willing to listen to the answers. And that's what there was a lot of in some of these conversations. Didn't always go exactly the direction that we wanted, but we kept at it and we kept persevering, as did the other partners, and that was a huge win for the public. Anyway, so that's that one item. I do have a couple more, but Gavin, I really appreciated your inclusion of the Coyote Valley Discovery Days in your presentation. I wanted to mention, in addition to the upcoming events that Gavin put forth, that hopefully some of you can participate in, the kickoff for the Discovery Days just took place this last weekend. So Friday, there was a webinar with many people attending, and that happened at lunchtime on Friday. Encourage you to take a look at it. There's a link on our website if you haven't seen it already. And then on Saturday at the Children's Discovery Museum, we had a huge tent where over 260 people, we estimated, enjoyed fun, family-friendly interactive stations there at the Discovery Museum portico. So really successful launch event on Saturday. We would encourage you, as Gavin already mentioned, to take the survey if you haven't already, and please push it out through your networks too. It's available on our website. There's a pop-up when you go to the Coyote Valley page, or you can take the card with you that here on the table as well. And then the last item I wanted to mention is the update on the funding measure that was discussed at the last meeting at the beginning of March, the last CAC meeting. So since that time, all of the arguments, both in favor and opposing the tax measure, have been submitted. The rebuttals against and for were also submitted, and the impartial analysis by the Registrar of Voters Office was also provided. So all of those are now posted on the Registrar of Voters website if you care to look at those. And I think that's really the process that's been completed at this point. And so now it's just up to the June 2nd election. And with that, I'll pass it along to Lee.
Thank you, Mark. A few quick updates. Happy to say that this Thursday, the board will be hearing an application for the District 6 CAC representative. That slot's been vacant since Lysana Dominguez was promoted to the board as a director. So hopefully that item will be heard this Thursday, and you'll have a new member in May. Forgot what month it is, so you'll meet her in May, and then shortly thereafter, perhaps we could get you all together for a photo outside. Would love to get a new photo of the CAC. And then just another shameless plug for inviting you to the Lucy meeting on April the 9th. Again, it'll be during the day. I don't have the times yet, but we'll let you know when that's solidified. And then the Ag Tour again on April the 10th from 10 to 2. And those are my updates. Make it.
Thank you, Megan Dreger, Conservation and Strategic Partnerships Manager. And this department is a very exciting department. It includes all the work you heard earlier from Jackie, the Urban Grant Program. A lot of good stuff going on there. The department also includes our grant seeking efforts to bring in money for our own projects. And our colleague Monica Nanez is very busy. We have a lot of grant applications going out right now, hoping to come back with good news about those very soon. On a related note, as you may recall, the climate bond included $25 million allocated for the Coyote Valley Conservation Program. The first $3 million of it has been allocated and has been at the state. We could apply for it, but there have been delays at the state level in them being able to give out that money. So it's been sort of on hold until just this past month or so. So it's now shifting into gear to start applying for the funds and get that money moving toward Coyote Valley. So again, updates more to come.
Thank you for the updates. The clip, oh my gosh, I know famous people now. Thank you for sharing of those. Honestly, I did, like you said earlier, with all of the news around government and everything, that's very heavy. So seeing things like this where something is finished and it's in a positive light, I'm actually very excited to share this news because I know it's come up for me in conversation. So I'm excited that there's a positive story that we can kind of point to and say, look, there's good stuff too that happens. Anyway, are there any committee members that have updates for us?
I just wanted to mention that I hope everybody saw the hill on the valley, that interactive story map about North Coyote Hill and Coyote Valley history in general, going back 250 years. That Nick sent that out about a week ago. It is incredibly impressive. You talk about feel-good stuff and positive stuff. That needs to be promoted heavily so a lot of people see it at our stuff that we do, especially Coyote Valley Days. There needs to be a link to that so people can view that. That was very impressive. So, and just one other thing. I noticed we're not sponsoring Open Road on NBC anymore. We're not listed as a sponsor. You got Mid-Penn, all the others, and our name's not on that anymore. So if there's a reason for it, I'm curious, but otherwise, I guess we just decided to stop sponsoring it.
Through the chair. So, yeah, thanks for the question, Ed. We had been sponsoring Open Road, and Doug McConnell, as you know, was a fantastic host. And one of his assistants, Jordan Plotsky, I think, continued the Open Road series after Doug's passing. And so it's still a great show. It's just we have limited resources, of course, and we have huge audiences to bring to the nature experience that we want to build awareness about and hopefully invite people to our preserves. So for the time being, we want to focus on expanding our audiences and bring in new audiences, see how that goes, and then continue to do analytics and understand where else we can be investing limited resources. So it's just a matter of diversifying our audiences.
Thanks, Mark. I knew there'd probably be a reason. I just wanted to make sure someone was aware that we're no longer seen there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing that up, and it is a terrific show. So maybe some point in the future.
Thank you.
I'm not sure this is the channel or the time. The city of San Jose is commencing to do something that is not exactly exciting to anybody that loves open space. Among the many things that I have done over recent years, I spent 3 years with 35 of the who decided we were the most influential people in San Jose. I have no idea, but we worked on the river task force and forced the cleanup of the river and the creek. And now there is officers that patrol it. And we did the best job we could to put people in the appropriate homes that were housed there. And we are still keeping it clean. I work with the Conservancy on many things. I also manage the Guadalupe Community Garden that's there. And the city has funding now to put in a big park there. Why I speak of it is in 1956, many people that were living there were kicked out of that place because, quote unquote, you cannot have aircraft coming in over the top of homes where people live. In the event of a crash, the FAA is exactly responsible for it. Well, the city in their infinite wisdom has decided from Walnut Street over to Coleman, there's a huge raft of land that we were going to keep for open space. They're now going to try to put businesses in there. I don't know what exactly I'm going to do and how many thousands of people I'm going to convince to not do that. But the original plan was to put walkways. I've already made arrangements for the California Native Flower Association to seed it. I personally probably have 5,000 billion seeds for monarch butterflies and you name it. So I'm a little cranky about it, but I don't know exactly how to shoot the project down. So I thought I'd bring it up here in case anybody had any great ideas on what we could do. The first thing I have to show them is I'm there at the Guadalupe Community Garden every day, and supposedly that's their new landing things are so precise they couldn't possibly have a problem. But some days I lean back to shoot a picture and there's a giant aircraft coming right over the top of the exact area that's supposed to be now going to be commercial. Their original idea was to put in automotive places. So far, I don't know what I'm going to win on or not. I have other people that are cranky. At least they might do something if they are going to do it, no matter what. It's like a bicycle rental shop, which takes very little space. And all those trails now, including the Guadalupe, are cleaned and you can ride the bike. A mom and pop restaurant, not one of the chains where only the front on Coleman Avenue is where the restaurant itself is. Something in the back where they open up to the open space so they can eat and watch the animals that are there. Perhaps a nursery or something of that nature, but certainly not automotive repair shops. For a lot of reasons. One is they can't get parts, so they're already parking everywhere they want to while the course destroyed. So I'm just throwing it out. See if anybody had any ideas.
I think the FAA is the one that forced San Jose to buy all those properties back then, so that would probably be the best place to start. Remembering it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
But they didn't They did not tell anybody. They just decided they want to take it back. They're saying FAA is going to try to make some extra money. And the first thing I pointed out to even the FAA is you're one of the most profitable airports there is. And if you want to talk about losing money or gaining money, you were supposed to be protectors of the ground owl, and you forgot all about that. So some of the land was taken away from you yourself, and then now the owl is protected in that area. But no, it just came up as a surprise, and unfortunately, Matt Mann and Council 6 are both big on real estate. So I'm not exactly sure where that's going to go.
Well, and if I may, Madam Chair, so I really appreciate your comments, Bob. I'm not sure there is anything that we as an agency can do, although sometimes we do weigh in when there's a conversion of a park. We have done that in the past, so if it's something that is in alignment with our mission, I think we could take a closer look at it. So maybe we can talk offline and I can get a little bit more information.
I'd appreciate, I was not trying to in any way put the organization in jeopardy, because I know a lot of things you have to do with the city, and I certainly don't want them to think, uh-oh, these are people that are causing other issues. But I'm at a point now where I'm not quite sure, and with your expertise, perhaps I can figure another way to attack this and eliminate the possibility that that will occur. So we'll get together.
Thank you.
I remember the pictures of the walkways. I remember them showcasing those. That's very disheartening to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else? Any other committee members would like to share anything else? Subcommittee reports. Look, I did my job. Do I get to do the thing? Do I get to do the thing?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. This meeting is adjourned at whatever time it says now. Okay, 7:48. Hooray. Oh, that was really loud.